This is a 2019 Porsche Cayenne, the third generation of its name. Base price for a base 2019 Porsche Cayenne is $76,700. A Porsche Cayenne S, like my tester, as you can see for yourself, starts at, and I do say starts, $94,100. If you need a lot more than what the Cayenne S can give you, I'm going to give you an idea of what that involves in the following video. You can always get a turbo, which starts at $141,800. There's an in-betweener, it's called the E-Hybrid, and it starts at $93,000. My Cayenne S is not $94,000, no. It has a number of options, including this absolutely stunning Biscay blue color. It's the introductory color for the E3 Cayenne. It is as elegant as it is stunning, breathtaking, all of that. Another option, these 21-inch wheels, which look like they could handle the Mars rover job with more styling than is actually legal. I don't know. They are incredibly good looking. That's just two options. I have one of the key options, most important options you can get on any Porsche, on which it's offered, rear axle steering. I also have the air suspension. I have the adaptive cruise control and the Premium Plus package with the massive panoramic sunroof, power steering plus vented seats, and so much more. Final tally, $123,000 and change. But it's not just about the good looks, because let's admit it, this thing is absolutely handsome. It is, well, the first generation, the E1, even after the update, or the facelift I should say, never really looked that good. The E2 still today looks very contemporary, but there's something very grown up and mature about the new generation. There is no bad angle on this, and the color and wheels, my goodness, elevated up to, I want to say Rolls-Royce Cullinan status. But yeah, so styling, it's gorgeous. The inside is also very nice. So let's start taking a look. We'll go for the tour, the usual tour, if you will. So according to Porsche, check this out. Look how fast this hatch goes up. Zoom, that's fast. The Cayenne has 770 liters of usable trunk space. Now that is not a word of a lie. It is wide, deep, and fairly high if you consider, where the cover goes. There's some storage under here, but, that's that. But it's a huge truck. You could actually live with this. I wish I had my stroller to show you how deep it is, but it absolutely works as a family vehicle, which is what it has been for the last week. There is a fair amount of room for my son's feet, plenty of room for my daughter, and in a pinch, you could squeeze a third person in the middle. Now this is a full light up panel for your HVAC and rear heated seat controls. The fit and finish in this thing is Porsche, and I do love this gray interior, which you can spec out with the Biscay. There's something so elegant, so beautiful and luxurious between the two, but it's so calming at the same time. Seats, just mind-bogglingly, I can't say the word, so never mind, look at the adjustments. And you can get lost in there, but you will get very comfortable in very little time. Your typical, yes. Beautiful gauges. Center readout for the tachometer. The other gauges can be changed, or depending on the drive modes, or through some menus that you select on the steering wheel. This screen is absolutely beautiful. Very quick to function, to respond. However, I have to say that I've been having a hell of a hard time working things out with CarPlay. I'm wired up here. The connector is under the armrest, which is huge. Reasonable-ish storage. only 1 out of 2 times will it recognize my phone when it's plugged in. It has been quite frustrating. There is one other element that is frustrating. When the sun hits this entire panel, which is beautiful, we have to admit, it's very, very beautiful. When the sun hits it just right and you're driving, it is blinding. But I love the redundancy of some controls up here. Series of HVAC controls here too. The drive modes, individual, which I barely use in this vehicle, which is odd. But then also, right, everything is also available on screen. Your apps, and then our whole assist and the sounds, and see how quickly it responds to the touch. It is absolutely great. If only CarPlay wanted to behave. Look at this. Look at the ride heights. It's crazy. Anyhow, this is a fabulous steering wheel. Porsche figured out how to do steering wheels a long, long time ago. Thin spokes, just enough controls, wonderful paddles. Anyhow, the important thing is, yes, I know you're running, is that the drive is really, really good. You know, I said Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and there's something, I mean, no, it's not as luxurious that is, but the Cayenne has kind of lost something, or something has evolved from the E2 to the E3. Anyway, I'm going to try and work that out for you. So let's go first. So, driving the new E3 Porsche Cayenne. I've done it a couple times already since it was introduced a couple of years ago, and something has occurred at Porsche with the Cayenne. And I mean, although it's gonna sound negative, it really isn't. What has happened is Porsche took away the edge that the Cayenne had. Took away is the wrong word too. Dulled the edge that the Cayenne had in performance, in technology, in just overall the driving factor that made this an incredibly, in fact, it just made it the Porsche of SUVs. Now, and this is not negative, okay? Please understand, this is a big, luxurious, powerful, comfortable, highly advanced SUV with a Porsche logo. This, I think, it was a conscientious effort on Porsche's behalf in order to allow the Cayenne to be more appealing to a much larger, much broader audience. And it was the right decision. This thing has never been more refined, more quiet, more stable, more grown up, more evolved. Thing is that the new BMW X5 is all of that as well. In fact, depending on the value you put on the brands and a few other factors, I mean, the gap is, there isn't much of a gap to speak of, but that doesn't take anything away from this. I know it sounds contradictory when I say it like that, but it's still a Porsche Cayenne. There's so many things to say about this vehicle. Excuse me. So the S comes with Volkswagen Auto Group's family now established 2.9 liter twin turbocharged V6, which puts out 434 horsepower from 5,700 to 6,600 RPM. The sun is blasting on my face. And 406 pound-feet of torque from 1,800 to 5,500 RPM or 5,600 RPM. Essentially what that means is that when you get on the throttle, this thing rockets forward like a 4,500 pound SUV should not. And there's a turbo version, which is even more nuts. And there'll probably be a Turbo S version eventually too. Yeah, without the Sport Pro package, which mine does not have, this thing will hit 100 kilometers an hour in son of a gun. See, there's the downside to this lovely, tactile, glassy, plastic, anyhow, at least, you know, visual proof. In 5.2 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. With the Sport Chrono package, it'll drop to 4.9. This one has one trick up its sleeve. It's got Porsche's all-wheel steering, four-wheel steering, active rear-wheel steering, which shrinks this thing down to Macan size, essentially giving it more nimbleness, a greater degree of responsiveness. And here's a hint, here's a strong suggestion. If it's available on the vehicle you're shopping, buy it. It also has another thing, and I brought it up, and that's the air suspension. On this vehicle, there are a number of advantages to it. One, there are 4 ride heights. There's low, there's normal, there's high, and then there's terrain too. You get up to 9.6, almost 9.7 inches of ground clearance should the going get really rough. That's like almost Wrangler territory, son of a gun. But I love it in low, obviously, because the truck looks so much better. But normally, when it's in low, it'll only stay in that position up until a certain speed. Then it rises to a normal setting. Not so with the Cayenne. It stays in low, and the ride is really good, even when the springs are compressed. Air springs, if you will, are completely compressed. There is one thing, however, with the air suspension, which is not a negative thing. Again, I know it's starting to sound a little bit, I swear, 90-degree turn takes, what was that, less than 3/4 of a turn. Anyway, even when it's set up in normal, I'm going to go into car. When the chassis is set in normal, the ride quality is almost too soft. You feel the back and forth of the chassis sending the weight to and fro and side to side. It's not unpleasant, but that's probably one of the reasons why I feel like it's so un-Porsche-like. So I like to put the dampers in Sport, which is unusual. There's also Sport Plus, but I've only tried it on the highway. And in Sport, the ride quality is perfect, spot on, absolutely comfortable enough, absolutely Porsche enough. It's incredible. There's so many. I mean, the brakes are humongously powerful. The steering is very responsive, very precise. There's nothing wrong with it. The whole of the Cayenne is an absolute achievement. And that's it. I mean, the issue is the BMW X5, for example. The roads are getting really bad here, so I'm going to go back to normal just for fun. The BMW X5 is just really, really good itself. Now, depending if you're a little bit more budget conscious, maybe, budget conscious, 85 grand, 90 grand. Otherwise, I mean, you will never, ever go wrong with a Porsche Cayenne. It remains, a bar, the one by which many are still measured. It doesn't stand out head and shoulders above as much as it once did, but it remains a Porsche Cayenne. That's it. There's not much else to add to that.